So I've had a Netflix binge today where I've just been watching film after film, and I so yeah, I watched the Babysitter one, and yeah, it was quite good. I liked it. And then I watched another um, just Deadly Illusions. It was kind of just randomly picked. I didn't really watch the trailer beforehand. I found it had a very slow start, and I felt like I just wanted to skip through and just get an idea of what it was because the trailer it didn't have a very good trailer, or maybe I missed the trailer or something. But yeah, it didn't really tell anything about the story, so I was kind of wasn't didn't know if it was going to be good or bad. And then I kind of got to the end, and I really liked some of the scenes that I saw, and then I ended up going back to the sort of beginning ish. And watching more of it, and yeah, there's a lot of sexual scenes that I didn't particularly like, so I don't really like that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was a good. It had a really good twist at the end and a really good plot, and I felt like I could relate to it because Anna means grace, and the this other babysitter, it's kind of like the first babysitter one, which is she's kind of went evil. Um, Only it's not really her fault, but she could have controlled it. But I don't know. It was a good film and I really enjoyed it. And then I came across, but I was complaining though that in a lot of the Netflix that I feel like I'm being looked as bad. Like I feel like I'm inspiring some, or maybe I've inspired someone. Not so like hugely or anything, but it's interesting how I watched the Anna one, which was about finding Anna, it's called, and my name's Anna, so it was kind of like, did I inspire the name, or do the people who made that film know anything about me? Like that's pretty much what I'm watching when I watch the films to see if I can work out if anyone knows about me or how it relates to me. And I don't think things massively relate to me. Like the stories are very inventive and creative and imaginative, and real life is not like how the stories are. But yeah, I'm not a killer babysitter or anything, but it's true that I'm hoping to, my sister's kid. I went to a meeting last week, and they're saying that the social services are thinking of taking Sophie to court to try and get the child off her. In which case, I would be the foster parent of that kid. They're thinking that as a possibility. Either she goes into foster care with herself and the baby, and they both get fostered basically for a few months until the baby's old enough. I think she's still hoping that the child will just live with her and not under no conditions. But I don't know if that's even likely. I'm not going to damn it for her or anything, but we'll see what happens. But they're going to come and do an assessment of my home and do an assessment of me, and so it's interesting how I've just seen two babysitter films. This possibility of me becoming being a foster parent of my sister's child, is it's only just come out in the last week, and it's interesting how I've only just now seen two films about someone who her name was B, in the babysitter one. Her name was Bee, but it turned out that she was kind of a bad babysitter, and she was actually involved in devil cult worship or whatever, doing sacrificial rituals and stuff. But hey, Jesus is supposed to represent Jews or just all people, and that is kind of what the Bible's about, sacrificing Jesus. Technically, everyone gets sacrificed because everyone dies, everyone goes through problems, and everyone is rejecting God as well. So they're happy to sacrifice God because they're willing to make her look bad in loads of films or whatever. But I don't really care. But it's interesting how I then watched this other film, which was The School for Good and Evil, and I was so impressed with it. That's definitely the best film that I've seen in a long time. Don't know if it's in my top 10, but it's definitely in my top 20 films of favorite films. I liked how I thought it was really childish. Like I saw the ad and I was like, this might be really childish. And the print work, the artwork on it looks like it's designed for like 12-year-olds or something. But no, it's not. I think I really liked it because there's no such thing as all good and all evil. And I related a lot to the character. The character was called Sophie, and my sister's called Sophie. So in a way, I was kind of seeing if it's got anything to do with my sister, because my sister's, well, I don't really know what's happening with her, but she has been in a mental hospital a couple of times, and she 100% doesn't believe anything that I say about my religion, and isn't on my side in any way. And She's definitely against me. And so it's interesting how, you had these two girls, one which was coloured and one which was just blonde and smaller. But yeah, they went to this land, and the school for good and the school for evil, and you kind of got the gist that the good wasn't actually just good, like they were doing terrible things as well, only covering it up, and they were being hateful towards others, and murdering people, murdering the kids that failed tests and stuff. So that's not good. But yeah, it was like the teachers couldn't see it exactly, but it's a fairy tale. You kind of expect them to not understand things, because technically they're all just fairy tale characters. But I really liked this film because it was kind of like a Disneyland type world. And yeah, I really really like that kind of film. I feel like I much prefer watching this to Avatar. Avatar is where you pretend to have different worlds, but the avatars kind of felt more human than anything, whereas these ones, they don't feel human, because didn't seem to realize that there's good and bad and bad and good. And it's nice how the girl who thought who was put in the bad house, thought she was good. um she did actually turn bad, but at the same time, I feel like if you've got loads of people thinking that you're bad and forcing you to be bad, and if you're surrounded by bad people, it does bring out badder sides to you. And I feel like you could learn from a lot from that film. But yeah, it's her yeah, her name was Sophie, and Agatha, but Aggie is just short. But yeah, that was a really really good film, and I recommend watching that one. Out of all the films, that's the School for Good and Evil is my favorite that I've watched in a while. And what else did I say? But yeah, it's interesting how I watched two films about a babysitter. One of them was called Grace, which Anna stands for Grace, and one of them stands for what is called BEE. So both seem to link to me. And then I was kind of complaining about how I've become like Netflix, or a lot of the films I'm seeing seem to portray me in a bad light. Or if people know that I'm Christ, if I go on to Big Brother or whatever, say that I'm Christ and say that my name has been implanted everywhere, people might come across these films and notice that it's a babysitter who is blonde and sort of my age, and her name is my surname. And they might notice in this other one, the Delusions one, that her name is Grace means Anna, and she also has a darker side to her. And then in this other film, which is The School for Good and Evil, you've got a girl who's blonde and is put in this school which is for bad, and she's complaining about, hey, I'm stop calling me the villain. I want to be a princess. I'm not a villain. And that's kind of what I was doing a few hours ago, moaning about how these films are making me look bad. But yeah, I don't care if films make me look bad, because I know the truth, which is that if films do make me look bad, and people want to watch films and believe that they see the connection with me, even if it's just something as small as my name or certain things. There was certain, there was a clip in Delusions one where they called her she said that she looked like a goddess and stuff, and it's just small things like that that kind of link even more to me. So, but if you want to link a character, an evil character, to me, whatever, I don't care, because at the end of the day, I am God, whether you believe or whether you like me or whether you hate me, or if you think I'm God or the devil, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I'm both. And if you're going to put me down for being both, or say that I can only be one because good and evil can't be together, and that they can't be the same thing, when in reality there is good and bad and everything. And I feel like both the characters in the good and evil one, the white girl and the black girl, it could be me and Aaliyah, which technically are the same person, and therefore you shouldn't say that one is good and one is bad, because there's good and bad and everything. And I just really like that film, and she was doing the same thing that I was doing, which was complaining about how Netflix made me look bad. But yeah, anyway.